All right, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, we'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Malak Washai. That is to say, Yahweh, being named the Heavenly Father, who the world will call God, and Yahweh Shai, being named His only begotten Son, who the world only called Jesus Christ. This is Brother Gasadi from the Jersey, Philly. And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, diving into a video. Definitely want brothers to be aware of this. You know, a lot of things taking place right now in the world, as we know. You know, we always trying to provide those updates. A little willing, you keeping watching your own. Most high willing, you watching YouTube videos, whether Canadian Prepper, Marfugu News, Redacted, us, any other camps is bringing out, the updates. And you doing your due diligence as well, being on X, seeing the different posts from these different accounts, and just keeping watch all in all, right? It's a lot of things that's taking place right now, and it's a high time, especially after Passover, especially after Pentecost, where a lot of things can shake up, right? The Most High God is waking brothers up, and the Most High God's putting brothers down. The Lord is waking men to come back to the knowledge of this truth, and also of removing brothers and sisters from the knowledge of this, from this knowledge, right? So we want to make sure we keep in watch, all in all, right? I'm gonna get this quick precept, right, while it's in the forefront of my head, right? Let me get this in Matthew chapter 26. This is Saint Matthew 26 and verse 41. It says, "Watch and pray," right? Watch and pray, Slakia, "that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." So we want to make sure that we keep in watch, right? Again, the things that's taking place is only going to speed up, right? If you're falling asleep spiritually, if you're drifting off, and you're not being observant of the time that you're in, you can surely get caught out there. And that's why we harp so much on keeping watch and making sure you're on fire and making sure you're diligent and making sure you push past all the adversity and the tribulation that you're going through, because you want to make your call and election sure, right? The Lord said, make your call and election sure, right? So you got to make sure that you're keeping watch so you're not caught out there when all hell is breaking loose. Now, something that the White House just put out 2 days ago now, they did this for the past few weeks, past month even. They've been releasing these quote unquote UFO documents. There's this movie called Disclosure that's coming out by Steven Spielberg, right? Steven Spielberg, he's a devil, right? But nevertheless, he's coming out with this movie, and in this movie, he's going into classified UFO documents, and he's trying to bring that to the big screen, right? So, supposedly, and not to dive too much in that, but I'm just making that point. That's a lot of this quote unquote UFO, alien, this, that, that the mainstream media, that the government is pushing right now. And it's very important that we're being observant of that, because, like I said 2 days ago, they just try to flip the script. First going into, aliens, little green men, gray men, Nordics, which are supposedly these it's not, none of this biblical, but supposedly these tall, super giant Edomites, white looking men with blonde hair and blue and blue eyes. It's just madness. Then they live on some other planet. It's all folly, right? But again, amongst all of that, they've embedded something that I definitely think we want to keep watch over. So much so that we made this video on, right? Or we're making this video on right now. So 2 days ago, they put out loading tonight. Now let's check this out. Let's see what this video is. Now it doesn't want to play. Right? So if you see on the screen, it says loading, right? That's what's cropped into the field. Now, if you remember, there's a movie back in the day called Signs. Let me pull this up real quick. It's like I put a W. But there was a movie called Signs. Who was in this movie? Wasn't it Bruce Willis? Who was in this movie? I forget who the main guy was in this movie. I might be mistaken. Um, who the hell was in this movie? Oh, Mel Gibson. That's the guy. They all look the same. But anyway, in this movie, it was it was going into these circles. Actually, I think it says right here. It says the story focuses on a former um, Escapol priest named Graham Hess who discovered a series of crop circles in his cornfield, and that the phenomenon is a result of extraterrestrial life. Signs explores the themes of faith, kinship, and extraterrestrials. Right. So essentially, there's these aliens, and I didn't watch the full movie, but I know a little bit. Um, that again, it was about these aliens, and they made contact, and they were trying to talk to them by having these crops or these signs in the crop field. And that was pretty much the gist of the movie. And again, I didn't see the full thing, so if you've seen it, you know what's going on. But the point is that that's the reason why they kind of used that right there, right? So to try to load into night, trying to get people hyped up, right? You can see 5.2 million people saw this video. So from there, they proceed, and then the very next post, it says, "Don't zoom into the T-shirt." So when you click on a post, remember this is in the same line. This is 6 p.m. The other video was, when was this? This is at 5:13. So they were kind of trying to get you riled up. Now in this picture, I don't see nothing about no aliens, right? I don't see no, extraterrestrial little green men. I don't see that. If you see that, let me know. I don't see that. What I do see is I see Israel, right? I see Northern Kingdom, right? So-called Hispanics. I see them with damn makeshift handcuffs, you know, pieces of thread tied around their wrist. I see hats in their hands. It says don't look at the bottom right corner. Then it says don't look at the caption. And then we look at the caption, it says don't zoom into the t-shirt. The t-shirt says what? Don't look at aliens.gov. So this is a government website that they're going to drop, in the leading up, right? If we're still at May 28th, they're leading up to something. And if something is, I'm going to show you very soon, right? So then right after that, at 6:32, 32 minutes later, they dropped this video, which is a UFO so-called that's picking up what looks like, what they would probably say an illegal, right? Which is Northern Kingdom, and they're picking them up and they're bringing them over the wall. Well, hold on now. Are they trying to make the distinction that these aliens are connected with these aliens, what they would say, right? These so-called illegals, which is Northern Kingdom. That's Israel, right? And it's not just Israel. It's actually, again, this website I'm going to go to in a second. It's going to show you what they really think. But let's continue on. So they dropped this 32 minutes later, right? Then they dropped this website. So this is around 8:32 p.m. on May 28th. It says they don't belong here. The truth has dropped. Aliens.gov. They walk among us. Alien arrest map live. So this is a live map that I'm going to click on in a second. That's talking about they, and that they don't belong here and they walk among us. Well, who the hell is the they? The they is us. The they is us. They're trying to make the distinction, and they use a little cover up and try to wrap it up under quote unquote aliens. And even then, when you look in the word alien, let's pull this thing up. When you look in the word alien, hold on, what's going on? This is the definition of alien. It says owing political allegiance to another country or government. Foreign. So to be an alien, you're a foreigner. You're owing allegiance to another country or government. And that's true. Absolutely. We don't owe allegiance to America. We're not pro-Americans. This isn't my country. If anything, we're POWs. Right? Let's look up the word POW. POW. P is an acronym, right? POW. We're prisoners of war. A prisoner of war is a person held captive by belligerent power during or immediately after an armed conflict. Wasn't there an armed conflict in 1492 that put the Northern Kingdom, Northern tribes, Gadites, Reubenites, Simeonites, Ephraimites, Naphtaliites, Asherites, Zebulunites, Issacharites? Lord willing, I'm not missing a tribe, right? I don't think I am, but Lord willing, I'm not. But this is what they did. They put them in a captivity, right? This is becoming a prisoner of war. Wasn't there an armed conflict in 1619 when they brought us over from the western coast shores of Africa? The Benjamites, Levites, Judites. It says the earliest recorded usage of the phrase prisoner of war dates back to 1610. What happened around 1610? It says belligerents held prisoners of war for a range of reasons. These may include isolating them from enemy combatants still in the field, demonstrating a military victory, punishment, prosecution of war crimes, labor exploitation. What is labor exploitation? That's slavery. Picking cotton, being in the field. It says recruiting or even conscripting them as combatants. And that's what they're going to want to do soon. Right? Say that we're combatants. Say that we're fighting against the government. It says extracting or collecting military and political intelligence and political or religious indoctrination. POW. So going back to this, it says an alien belonging to, characteristic of, or constituting another and very different place, society, or person. Strange. So to be an alien, you're a stranger. You're a foreigner. You understand? Dissimilar, inconsistent, or opposed as in nature. So when they have this map and they say they don't belong here, you damn right we don't belong here. Of course we don't belong here. Again, biblically speaking, we are aliens, right? Let's go to Exodus chapter 18 real quick. Exodus 18, I want verse 3. I got a few precepts written down, right, that I want to go into. Slack it. This Exodus 18 and verse 3. It says, and her two sons, of which the name of the one was Gershom, for he said, I have been an alien in a strange land. Right? Moses said, I've been an alien in a strange land. Moses called himself an alien. Let's go into this word alien in the Hebrew. Right? Gar. Sojourner. We so much a sojourner that you had a sister, I believe it was around the 17th, 18th century. I forget how long. But the sister, Sojourner Truth, said she did 17th century. She called herself Sojourner Truth. She was an American abolitionist and activist for African American civil rights. Right? It says Truth was born into slavery in Swarterkill, New York, but escaped with her infant daughter to freedom in 1826. Right? So she was so much a damn sojourner that she got up out of there. And she called herself Sojourner Truth, but her real name would have been Isabella, right? Slave name they gave her. But back to it. Let's go back to that precept. Oh, hold on. I want to get that. Hold on. Bear with me, Slocky. Let's go back to this thing. Right? This is the word alien. It says a temporary inhabitant. Right, because this place that we live in isn't, we're not supposed to be here forever. We're not supposed to be here forever. The Lord brought us here for a time and a season. Right, and that time and that season is almost up. Let's go to that real quick in Psalm, chapter 102. That time is almost up. This Psalm 102 and verse 13. It says, I start at 12. It says, but thou, O Yahweh, shall endure forever, and thy remembrance unto all generations. Thou shalt arise and have mercy upon Zion, For the time to favor her, yeah, the set time is come. So there's a set time for us to be released. We're not supposed to just be here forever. The Lord never programmed that to be. We're here to abide out our sentence. Right? We're prisoners. We're in prison right now because of our disobedience. For our disobedience. But the Most High never put us here for our destruction, for us to be completely done away and destroyed. Right? Let me get that real quick and let me go to Baruch real quick. Right? This isn't for eternity that we just hear with the white man over our damn neck. Right? This is I believe I wanted Baruch chapter 3 and Baruch chapter 3, and the precept is escaping me, right? But Lord willing, it'll come back. Lord willing, it'll come back. Let me try this one other. Chapter 4. Oh, there we go. This is Baruch chapter 4, verse 6, right? Precept, classic. It says, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction. So this wasn't for us to be completely destroyed and done away with. Right? The Most High, he never, the Lord even said in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 16, that there's no end of all the people. Right? So how much more the chosen people? Right? This is not for us to be completely, again, broken down and flat out, the Most High just casts us away. No, we're not cast away completely. It may seem like that because the Lord has removed his right hand from us. But over these years, particularly since 1960, the Most High has been drawing us back to him and giving him his right hand once again, or giving us his right hand once again, which is what? Salvation, waking us up, having mercy on us, pardoning our iniquity, not completely eradicating us after all the evil we push. Since 1960, we've done even more evil, but it's been also the Most High waking us up over these last 60 years, since 1968, right? It says, not for your destruction, but because ye moved God to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies, right? So the Lord delivered us to the enemy because we did what? We provoked the Most High. We done evil. We got down with all the ways of this world. We got down with the spiritual demon Satan. We bowed down, and we still down. Some of us trying to wake up and trying to wake the others up, but the others, they want to stay down because they submitted themselves into the spiritual demon Satan. So you damn right we don't belong here. Absolutely, we are aliens. Let's go to the book of Job. Right? What did Job say? Let's go to Job chapter 19. It's Job 19 and verse 15. It says, they that dwell in my house and my maids count me for a stranger. So Job said, even those in my own house, they count me as a stranger. He said what? I am an alien in their sight. Right? You may be, even amongst your own family, right? You're considered a stranger, considered an alien, considered a foreigner. You woke up to the knowledge of the truth, right? You start praying, you stop smoking, you start fasting, you stop being a fornicator. You started going out and teaching, and you stopped going out to the club. You started moving in the spirit of the Most High, and that became foreign to the rest of the world, your family, your friends, those you were close with, right? So not only are we foreigners and strangers to this land, but we're foreigners and strangers to our people who want to move after the ways of this land. When we start detaching from this world, keeping Passover, Pentecost, Tabernacles, Day of Simon, Feast of Dedication, the destruction of Nicanor, Purim, these new moons, and the countless other feast days that we have, when we start moving like that and we stop keeping New Year's or New Year's Eve, damn Christmas, Halloween, Easter bunny laying eggs, when we stop doing those things, damn Juneteenth, damn 4th of July, when we stop moving like the world, we've now become a foreigner or alien to this world. right? Even our forefather Jacob, right? Jacob, he said he was an alien, right? A stranger to this land. This is Genesis chapter 37 and verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in a land wherein his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan. Right? So we always been moving as what you would know as so-called pilgrims, right? Pilgrims or sojourners or, looking for rest. This isn't our true rest. This isn't our true homeland, right? The Most High God has the land of Israel appointed for us. And when we're finally there, we're finally reached the promised land, then all this talk of being alien or stranger that can coincide. It'll be put to shame. Right? This is Psalm chapter 69 and verse 8. I am become a stranger unto my brethren and an alien unto my mother's children. And on a spiritual level, if we're the descendants of Jacob, right? And we are our forefather, then our mother's children would be who? It'd be Esau and them Edomites. So they consider us aliens. Again, amongst our own people on a literal level right now, we're alienated, right? We're the black sheep of the family. We're this, we're that, we're weird. We're different, we're in a cult. All these different things they may throw at us and say at us because we're following the Bible. Imagine that. The whole world say they believe in God. We're the ones actually following the Bible, and now they're saying we're strangers. Now they're saying we're weird or we're aliens. There's nothing different than our forefathers had to deal with. So much so, this is what Yahweh Shai said. This is Psalm 69 and 9 is actually prophecy that Yahweh Shai fulfilled. For the zeal of thine house had eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach thee are fallen upon me. And that's what we had to take on as well. Right? This prophecy took place after Yahweh Shai saw them having the money changers. I believe it was if I'm not mistaken, I think it was John the second chapter, when the Lord overthrew those tables. They were in there buying and selling, right? On the Passover, right? Let me get that real quick. John, it's like, hold on. Let's go to, I believe it was John the second chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Well, not Jonah. John chapter 2. If I'm not mistaken, this was this account. Right. So it says, this is John chapter 2 and 13. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Yahweh Shai went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple and the sheep and the oxen and poured out the changers' money and overthrew the tables. And said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence, make not my father's house an house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thine house had eaten me up. See that? So they would have called Yahweh Shai an alien, a stranger, a foreigner. So let's go back to this thing. So, I got a few more. Let's get all of them. I want every single precept that I had written down, not to go to so-called waste, right? I want these precepts to be brought up. Genesis 15 and 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed. Who is Abraham's seed that is speaking of? Not unto seeds as of many, but as unto seed, which is the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the 12 tribes. Tell you that in Galatians chapter 2 and verse, it's like at 3 and 29. 26 on down to 29. So it says, that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. Well, who does this fit? Does this fit Ishmael? Is this fitting Esau? Because Esau is a seed of Abraham. Is this fitting any of Abraham's other sons? They have their land. Why is it that the so-called blacks and Hispanics, we're the only ones that don't have something of our own? Even when the northern tribes came over to this land, it's over. That's taken from them. Even if you live in so-called Jamaica, that's really not yours. You live in Haiti, that's not yours. So it says they're going to be a stranger in a land that is not theirs and shall serve them. So not only are you going to be a stranger in that land, but you also got to serve the people of that land. Who does that fit? Yes, this happened to the Israelites our forefathers when we were in the Egyptian captivity, but how much more so since being brought over here? Since the Europeans, the Spaniards, the British coming over here, capturing the northern tribes, taking us from western culture of Africa and bringing us over here. And they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterward shall they come out with a great substance. So they understand this. We'll be afflicted, and afterwards we're going to receive a great substance. Right? Afterwards, we're going to receive that great substance. But first, you have to be afflicted. And again, I mentioned this, but we damn right we don't belong here. Right? We do not belong here. We're here because we were put in captivity, because of our disobedience to the Most High. That's the only reason. We didn't willingly hop on those slave ships. We didn't willingly want the Spaniards to come over and rape, rob, and murder, and slaughter, and kill, and do all types of evil, and no. Grab us up and burn us by the stakes. We didn't want that. Those things happened to us because we were disobedient to the Most High God. This is Lamentation chapter 5, verse 2. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. So the things that the Most High has given us, the nations have now taken from us. Particularly Amalek, the Jewish man, the small hat, yarmulke man. It's taking it from us. Taking our laws. Taking our land. Taking our preeminence, or I should say, I guess you say preeminence in our establishment of being in the top of the world. That's now been removed from us. We at the bottom and they at the top. Remember, that was a curse in Deuteronomy that they will be the head and we will be the tail. When we followed the Lord and kept his commandments, the blessings that were bestowed upon us would be that we will be established in the top of the earth and they will be at the bottom. So now our inheritance is turned to strangers and our houses to aliens, and therefore we become those strangers and we become those aliens because we've now been cast out. We're like the prodigal son. We've been stripped from everything we have. It says we are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows, and that's on a physical level, but how much more on a spiritual level? If the Most High has removed himself from us, it's as if we're now fatherless and we have no one to comfort us. We have drunken our money, or it's like our water for money. Our wood is sold into us, right? Everything we want, we have to buy. How do we buy it? We got to get this money. How do we get this money? We got to work for the white man. We got to work for these nations. So we're slaves to the dollar, which is funded, created, and distributed by the so-called white man in these nations. Capitalism is slavery. Make no mistake about it. Yeah, they may give you this idea that you could be, you work hard, you can be at the top. That's never going to be, because you're starting the game, damn, hundreds of years after they already been winning. You would never reach their levels. It's never going to be equal. It's not supposed to be. The rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. That's capitalism. And we condemn that, right? So continuing on. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold into us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. How many brothers and sisters that's watching this video, you got to work damn overtime? You have to it's mandatory for you to provide for yourself and your household to work overtime in a society. When everyone else is punching, you got people, they don't even go to work. They work from home. Do a little bit of typing and now they good. They out with their dog. They out at home. They doing these trips. They traveling, so on and so forth. They damn investing, and they got these stocks and these 401ks and this and that. This is their society. But you got to work 50 hours a week just to make ends meet. A lot of times, both the husband and the wife, they got to go out and work. So then what happens with the children? The children are in daycare, or there was some family member that they thought they trusted, and you find out years later that, that child was being touched and things was happening to that child, and, evil is being pushed into their brain. folly and madness, and you have no control over your household anymore. It's all destroyed because we labor and have no rest. Our necks are under persecution, right? Let's get another precept. The Lord said this in Micah. Let's go to Micah chapter 2. The Lord said this is not our rest. It says, arise ye, it's like it, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Stop thinking that this, it's like, I got this the other way. Stop thinking that this is your rest. You kicking your feet up. You're relaxed. You throwing your hands up. You think everything cool. You think it's cool to punch in and punch out of work Monday through Friday? Sometimes they try to force you to work on the Shabbat. You think it's cool to have to work these side apps and gigs just to make things shake for your household? You think it's cool that the education system is completely to deter you from even having a chance at a higher pay in a society? You think it's cool that your children is being fed damn sodomy and all this folly that's going on right now with the LGBTQT, all this other stuff? Think that's cool? None of that's cool. The food is poison. They're spraying damn poison and damn weed killing spray over the crops. You think you're eating organic food, but it truly isn't organic, it's GMO. They just dress it up a little bit better. The cows that you eating is damn injected with all types of steroids and other just stuff. The chicken is all plumped up and it's not real chicken anymore. Everything we have here is defiled and destroyed. You think that's okay? The Lord said this is not your rest. This isn't your rest. We don't belong here. That's the one thing the White House got correct. We don't belong here. The truth has dropped. We don't. Let me take a screenshot. That's gonna be the thumbnail. Right? That's gonna be the thumbnail, Lord willing. Let me see. There we go. We don't belong here. You damn right. We don't belong here. Send us back to our land. But we know it's not up to them. We know it's of the Most High. Right? It says, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. And that's why you look in these slums and these ghettos. You look in the hoods. You go to Hunting Park. Right? You go to Harlem. Right? You go to places in Chicago, St. Louis. Go to Zone 6 Atlanta and other parts of Atlanta. You go to Baton Rouge. You go to New Orleans. You go to Houston. Wherever we at, you go to Compton. Right? You go to Crenshaw. You're going to see that we're destroyed as a people because we have trusted in this man and trusted in his religion and trusted in his politics and trusted in his education, and now we've been destroyed. If we had that fight within us, that we once had it. Back in the early 60s, was out there marching, Million Man March. Imagine we try to get a million Jake together today. Probably ain't gonna be one left. They gonna shoot and kill and damn do all types of evil towards each other. We've been conditioned to be segregated even amongst our own while we're trying to be integrated amongst them. Why would we want to be amongst them? Why are we trying to make this our rest? Calling ourselves FBAs, Foundational Black Americans, when America was never our foundation. So again, absolutely, they are correct. We are aliens. We do not belong here. Right? Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 9. 1 Kings chapter 9 and verse 7. It says, I start at 6. But if ye shall turn, but if ye shall at all turn from following me, ye or your children, and will not keep my commandments and my statutes, which I have set before you, but go and serve other gods. What's those other gods? Christianity, Catholicism, Buddhism, Islam, Nation of Islam, man, woman. You put these things as gods when they were never a god. There's only one God. There's only one being you can get power from. That's the Most High Yahweh. That our people have turned from. It says, and worship them, then will I cut off Israel out of the land which I have given them, and this house, which I have hallowed for my name, will I cast out of my sight, and Israel shall be a proverb and a byword among all people. And that's what you see right now. We've now become, for them to make videos like this. Hold on, where's that video at? I mean, they think this is a game, bro. They think this is a game. First off, let alone are you disrespecting the aliens, right? Disrespecting the angels and calling them aliens, right? But you're let alone you're also thinking that a brother just wants to use. They're thinking a Northern Kingdom brother, because that's who's depicted here over the wall, needs a UFO, a so-called UFO, a chariot, an angel, to pick them up and bring them over a wall, so they can get. They just want to get in America so bad that they calling upon the angels of the Lord, which they would say are so-called UFOs, so they can get beamed up and brought over the wall. Like it's so glorious here in America. That's complete madness. They just had to be arrested. They just had to be rounded up, arrested, tied up. You know, this is what it had to be. So let alone, again, are you disrespecting the angels? You're disrespecting the children of Israel, which is ultimately, of course, now you're disrespecting the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Right? Let's go back to this. So the Most High has made us a proverb and a byword. This is happening because we've been disobedient to the Most High God. He told us this would happen. And the Most High made good of his promise. Right? He's made good of his promise. This is why and if the Most High made good, and you see that? It's the spirit. It says God's promise and warning. That's the spirit. I didn't know that was right there. But he said that would happen and it happened. Because when you go into the word promise, let me show you this real quick. I just brought this out yesterday. When you go into the word promise, right, in the Hebrew, it's the word debar. Right? Promise is the word debar. Well, hold on. This is breach. We don't want that. Breach, alienation, enmity. We want just the word promise. All right, let me look this word up again. Hold on. Let's use right here. Nehemiah 5:12. Let's go into the word promise, right? It should be the word debar, right? As you see right there, which is what? Debar, it says speech, word, saying, thing. Speech, word, words, business, occupation, acts, matter, case, something, manner, a decree. So your word, the same word that we use in the Hebrew, debar, is the same as the word you would use for a promise. Meaning what? Your word, when you say something, it should be. You should uphold that. That's what Jake said in the world. My word is bond. You shouldn't have to say that. You shouldn't. If you said something, it should just be that. You said, "Look, I'm gonna be here at 5:00." All right, well, you should be there at 5:00. Or I'm gonna take care of that for you. I got you. That should just be that. It shouldn't be a double backing, a double talking. The Lord said, "Let your yea be yea and nay be nay." So if the Lord says something, it's for sure a promise because He said it and He's going to honor it. You know, and I wanted to make that point real quick. But let's get a few more. Right? Let's go to Psalm chapter 84, and then I'm going to show you this website. This Psalm 84, and I wanted 5. I'm gonna read it in the KJV, then I'm gonna get it out of another translation in a second. It says, blessed is the man whose strength is in thee, in whose heart are the ways of them. Right? So you're blessed if you keep your strength in Yahweh Bashim Yashai, right? You believe in Yahweh Bashim Yashai, and your heart is on the Most High. Now, let's see what it says in the NLT. It says, what joy for those whose strength comes from Yahweh, right? They trusted in the Most High, who have their mind, it's like who have set their minds on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. The NIV, blessed are those whose strength is in you, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage. What is this word pilgrimage? Let's look this up. Right? To be a pilgrim, let's look at the word pilgrim. Looks like it. To be a pilgrim is a religious devotee who journeys to a shrine or sacred place. It says a person who travels especially to foreign lands or to a place of great personal importance. So what a pilgrim is one that's on a journey. And not just to anywhere, but they're journeying through foreign lands to go to this holy place. It says one who travels to a shrine or a holy place as a devotee. So when the Lord is speaking of blessed are those whose strength is in him, that's the you, it's the Most High, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage. We need to remember, again, absolutely, we don't belong here. This is not our rest. This is not our land. We should look for something else. This something else should be New Jerusalem that's being established by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, us being back in our homeland. You understand? So, again, absolutely, I said it 1,000 times so far in this video. Again, it's going to be the thumbnail of the video. We do not belong here. Let's click on this article or this website. So again, they have this. They posted this 2 days ago. It's got 1.5 million views, and you got these people in the comments. They happy. They happy. Ice baby. I just want the same. Look at this. Sanctuary city. They kind of going on and on and on. Now, a few of them are calling them out about the Epstein files and saying this is a cover up for that. They don't want to really go into that, but they want to deal with this, right? Let's see this. See, the Most High about to deal with them. For him to post something like this is a complete mess. So it says, aliens, they walk among us, declassified. For 60 years, the U.S. government has kept a closely guarded secret. Talking about 60 years earlier. What's been taking place in the last 60 years? Let's continue. Aliens have been walking among us, living in our neighborhoods, interacting with us in our daily lives, being shopped in the same stores, attending the same classes as our children, and living extreme existences. With one exception. Millions arrived under the cover of darkness and embedded themselves directly into our society. Countless presidents, congressmen, and senior officials knew exactly what was happening. Instead of protecting American citizens, they chose to cover it up and even accelerate the invasion. Until one man finally had the courage to tell the truth. Bold, unapologetic, unafraid. Trump was the first to call out the real danger aliens pose to every American family, every community, and the future of our nation. The truth is no longer out there. It is right here, right now. Top secret. This is a live counter, alleged live counter of encounters, that they are having with these quote unquote aliens. Now let's take a look. Let's look at this map. This map is all places where Jake is predominantly at. You don't see Montana, you don't see North Dakota. It's not really going down in these rural places where Esau's at. But these chief cities, it says countries of origin: Colombia, Cuba, El Salvador, Ghana, Guatemala, Honduras, Mali, Mexico, Nicaragua, Peru, Spain, Sweden, Tonga, Venezuela. These are predominantly places where our people are from, right? Where we're at, right? St. Lucia, Tobago, Trinidad. Now they're throwing in these other countries, like I see over here China. I see I haven't seen no Chinese men being deported. It has Russia. We haven't seen no Russians being deported. So they're speaking with a double tongue. We know what they're saying. Lord willing, you know what they're saying, but the rest of the world, they not really picking up what they putting down. It says source, ICE immigration arrest. So I'm gonna scroll down. So it says, if you witness an alien abduction, do not be alarmed. So hold on now. So in this context, then wouldn't the ICE officers or agents, when they be the aliens? If aliens doing an abduction, which is allegedly what they say, these UFOs come down and they beam you up. This is what they consider an alien abduction, when they beam you up and you're no longer there, right? Well, if you're saying that these aliens are these illegal immigrants, Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, those that are not US citizens, and they now need to be deported, and you're calling that an alien abduction, again, the context doesn't really make sense. It says, do not be alarmed. The alien is in good hands. We will take care of it. We will take care of it. So they're calling us a it. And return it safely to its place of origin. And it's an actual button you can click to report suspicious aliens. A ICE tip line. That's wickedness. That's complete wickedness. It says they aren't little green men. These quote unquote aliens are the millions of illegals who invaded our country under the cover of darkness. Trump told the truth. The cover up is over. Secure the border. Deport them all. Stay informed of alien encounters in your area, and you can sign up using your email. This is the demonic activity that these devils are doing right now. But we know what this is about. See, this is not something for us to be alarmed at. We want to say all praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to Yahweh Shem Shai. Why? Why? Because this is prophecy. This is prophecy. This 2 Ezra 15 and verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So there's a time coming where you're not going to be able to go to the next city. There's going to be checkpoints. You may have to give them your ID, your passport, that damn real ID you have. They're going to need to verify your information and figure out who you are before you can go back into the city. They're going to be going into your house, going door to door. I mean, they're already doing that. We talked about it for years, and they're doing it right now. Don't bat a blind eye because you think they're going after so-called non-U.S. citizens or illegals. That's your people. That's Israel. Yeah, they may be in a world right now, but the Most High surely is going to seal the hopeful elect. Right? So these things are biblical prophecy. Let's go to 2 Ezra 16 and verse 40. It says what? Oh, my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle. So get ready. Prepare yourself. Put on your boots. Strap up on a spiritual level. And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. And we just went into it earlier. How important it is to be moving as a pilgrim on the earth. Remember, too, that back, let me go to this. You had this You had the decree of Claudius where he expelled um, Jews from Rome. That took place around 40, anywhere between 41 to 52 AD. Right? So it has Emperor Claudius expelled the Jews from Rome around AD 49 due to disturbances caused by conflicts related to Christus, likely referring to Christ. So a lot of Jake was waking up, a lot of brothers waking up, and he didn't want them in Rome anymore. This expulsion is mentioned in historical sources, including the Acts of the Apostles and writings of Soletus. So let's go to Acts chapter 2. Again, this is not nothing to be alarmed of, but this is something to keep watch of. Right? Because before we get that, let's go to Romans real quick. Chapter 15. So the things that we see and the things that we read about, they're written for us. Romans 15:4. Whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So the things that we see and the things that's happening, they're written because we live in the last days and the Most High God wanted us to be aware of these things to come to pass. 1 Corinthians 10:11. Now all these things happen unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. So the things that we see, again, the things that's written, these are written for us. So let's go to Acts chapter 18. Right? Acts chapter 18 and verse 1. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy. So there were Jews in Italy, evidently, right? Paul is from Italy, right? Right. Well, a province of Italy, a Roman province, Tarsus, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. So this is during a time where there's a great uproar. Again, a lot of brothers and sisters are waking up. So they said, look, we can't have this no more. They need to get the hell out of there. They over here talking about this man, Hamashiach. They need to go. They need to talk about Zeus and this god and Saturn and so on and so forth. Why are they not talking about our gods? Why are they proclaiming the name of their God and the name of the son of their God? Right? So they need to go. So they kicked this out. So again, this ain't nothing new. This devil and what they did and what they just dropped, this is only another reminder that we're much, much, much closer to the end of the world, to Jacob's trouble, to them trying to round us up than what you previously have thought. It's very important that you remember. Why the hell is this trending? That's madness. See that? Baal is trending. That's evil. It's demonic activity going on. But it's very important that you keep watch and the things that's taking place. And not only keep watch. When we say keep watch, it's not just, okay, I'm watching. Oh, this is going on. This is going on. And you just go about your day. No, if you're keeping watch, you want to make yourself ready to that battle as well. Seeing the things that's taking place and you examining your spirit. Whether you have to fast more, whether you need to read more, whether you need to pray more, go out and teach. Congregate more. Do what you need to do to get your spirit better as you see that day approaching. It'd be foolish to witness all hell breaking loose, and it's almost as if you see a nuke approaching, but you're doing nothing about it. So Most High willing, was edified. As always, we want to give all honor and all glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Mashiach Malak Yahushai. This brother Kasadi from WFI Jersey, Philly. Most High willing, was edified. Kwame Sharala. Keep watching these last days. Shalom.